Hello and welcome to Astromanics. Mary and I were going down Mary's family lineage because Mary's grandma was an astrologer herself. Uh, I have a very prized paper of a chart that she did with her writing on it. You and I both have an affinity for family things, right? Like, oh my God, my grandma breathed on this once, therefore I will
Yeah.
keep it forever, right?
Yes. I have so many little treasures like that.
Yes. And we were looking up Mary's grandma, who we have in our Luna, but we were also trying to figure out her um grandpa's chart. And we were going to do a little reverse engineering, and so we can kind of show you how we reverse engineer it. Mary has a paper. Is it a chart? Is it a picture of the chart of your grandpa's?
No, it's not a picture of the chart. This is
It's
just
just the writing.
some notes.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
It's
So
almost like
an ephemeris.
yes.
Uh-huh.
Or right columns where she's like trying to, and this was basically where she kept like her family info and details, right? So I've got
Right.
most of her kids listed here, most of my aunts and uncles, and their birthday, time. I
Right.
don't see place, but maybe she just knew that and didn't need to write it down. I don't know. But yeah, so my grandma was a really interesting woman, definitely an astrologer, definitely a tarot reader, pure magic, but she was hellfire too. And so she burned through men. And part of it was because she lost the love of her life
Oh.
at kind of a young age. They had kids together. I think they had 3 kids.
Mhm.
They're the oldest. And then he died. And I think she really unraveled from that point, right? Was really like
Ugh.
um so devastated, right?
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, this most of her kids have different dads,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
so my mom was a
Mhm.
twin
Right.
and they have an older brother, but all 8 of them consider themselves like fully siblings. There's no like, if
Right.
anything, it's just part of it's like woven into the family history that there is just a lot
Right.
of different
You know what? I
people.
have a half brother in quotation marks, my little brother Daniel, but I don't think of that at all. Like we have
Right.
different dads, but I don't think of him as not brother or even less than brother. I have an older brother who is from my mom and my dad, right? But I don't think of them as less than, better than,
As
there's
any different.
no.
Right.
Zero difference, right? I
My
don't think
mom is closer to the ones that aren't even as biologically close. You know what I mean? Look,
right.
she was raised by like my aunt Liz, and that was a different dad, but she never thought of her as um half anything, right? This was her everything. And so yeah,
Yeah,
it's never a point of conversation really. Right? Like they didn't focus on like the
dude.
division.
She herself, though, I'm looking at your grandma's fourth house with the Saturn and Aries. That's that looks like strong difficulties with her biological father.
And my mom has the same placement.
Oh,
She
interesting.
has a Saturn Aries.
Oh, really? A Saturn Aries. What house
Yeah.
is your mom's in?
I want to say hers is one of it's like 10th or 11th, maybe one of the later ones.
Mm.
We'd have to
So
look at
like
we have her chart in here.
so yeah. That's interesting though that hers is in the later ones. So when things are below the surface, it's things that other people don't see. But when it's above the ascendant, right? When it's above, that would mean that people saw your mom's shitty dad. Is that true?
Yeah, right. Because we're talking about how they had different dads. My biological grandpa, her father, right? His name's George, and he was like in a motorcycle gang,
This
and
is the one we're looking
he's
up, right? The motorcycle gang
this is
guy.
yes, and
Okay. Let's
he was just rough around the edges, right? And they had like a really volatile relationship, and he was in and out of their lives. My mom has some memories with them, but not a
right.
lot. They never really lost being romantic, right? I guess they were always still like very enthralled with each other.
Right.
But toxic together, I think, is kind of what I get the impression of is like, not providing us stability for all of these. 8
Yes.
kids, right?
Right.
Um,
All right. So you said that she had written down a 29 degree, right? We have a
yeah,
couple of indicators that help us.
this is yeah,
Mhm.
this is the reverse process right now is
Yeah.
we know she wrote down his birthday 3/13/36.
Right.
We don't have a where, so we put Reno in because that's my guess. And
Right.
then um she has certain degrees listed in here.
Right.
So we're trying to find,
That degree. And that will
yeah,
tell us what she knew, even though she didn't write it down.
right.
So the Venus that we have on here on the screen right now is 24 degrees Venus, right? And what is the degree that he had it at?
All right. She has got him at, it looks like a 29 degree.
So, okay, now this is interesting. So 29-degree Venus will put it days, not hours,
Interesting.
right?
So this change much depending on where he's born? It wouldn't change that much.
No,
If
not
this
unless
was
he was
the
born.
birthday.
Yeah, not unless he was born outside the US. But like this right here might be a 25, but it wouldn't be a 29, you know?
Okay. Well,
I
oh,
just,
you know what?
yeah.
That might be a 24,
Oh
actually.
shit. Okay.
Because she's like, she writes over the top of it. So I'm zooming in really hard. And I think it could be a 24.
A 24-degree Venus, you mean?
Yes.
So his birthday is correct.
And then for his Mercury,
Yeah.
she's got what looks like 29-degree. It almost looks like she has Aquarius and Pisces written down there.
Hmm.
And then she's got the Scorpio moon, but without a degree.
Yeah. She's got the
Okay,
Scorpio
so
moon. That would be the most beneficial one to have, the Scorpio moon
right,
degree, because that would actually give us a better indicator.
right. I'm not sure if she knew the time, maybe, but let's reverse engineer her work and see what we come up with, I guess.
Yeah. Did
But
she have any and her writing is beautiful, but yeah, writing over things is a thing she definitely did. Like I've
yeah,
had to
you've
take a
studied her
magnifying
work.
glass. Yeah, I've had to take a magnifying glass to her work to like look at the number and the detail. That's interesting.
Oh, this makes sense to me. Okay, so she's got it kind of written as either a 29-degree um Aquarius or a 0-degree Pisces,
Yeah.
right? So she's kind of got that split.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. And then for Mars, she has it at 10.
Yeah. It's at 15 here. And this wouldn't change either. This,
Actually,
yeah.
that could be a 15.
Yeah.
Now I'm zooming in and I'm seeing it different, like where her pin could have went out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So maybe there's not much to reverse engineer after all. Okay, this
No.
maybe this is exactly the same. Jupiter.
Yeah, Jupiter's at 23 degrees. Okay, so let's go back to hers and we'll put his over the top to like
Okay.
talk about synastry. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna look it up.
So it's not that it's different at all. It's just that I couldn't read her handwriting
Right.
as well when I zoomed in.
Well, we could talk about her chart first and then we'll put his over the top.
Yeah.
Let's go.
My grandma is the most Aquarius
Ever.
ever. I really believe Lacey and her would have gotten along.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Yeah.
even when we've had like I feel like her presence, right? It's always kind of like didn't we have that reading that she came in on? I felt like you guys almost like hit it off even through.
Oh yeah, it was a reading actually that you had with somebody else, right? That like it was a thing. And then weren't we doing like a past life? Was that when we were doing the past life regression one? We went to see the friend and we did like this meditation together.
I do remember that though.
Yeah, I
I
think
was a tree, you were a
I was a tribal leader who always did the right thing.
Yeah.
right? I had or I was the leader in a small group, right? Or one of the leaders, a matriarch, if you will. And I died surrounded by loved ones. But I was sad that I didn't get to do what I wanted to do because I always did what was best for everyone. Oh, and I have a South Node area Aquarius, so did what was best for everyone, mastered
For the
that.
group.
Yeah,
Right.
interesting. I didn't even know that at the time. So how
Right.
fun.
We
Yeah.
didn't know, we weren't talking astrology as much at the time.
No, no, we weren't. That was just like a vision. So now that is interesting to have that in my mind and be all, oh
Right.
shit, I have that that
Connecting the
South
dot,
Node.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's funny when I think of past life regressions, okay, my Aquarius logical mind kind of goes, is this bullshit or is this real? Right. Because Aquarius is like, what's real? Right. So like that's always a question. And then, coming from a super religious background, now I'm like super triggered or super like wary of anything that is spiritual in nature. But I love astrology, right? Like I love it
Right.
because it is factual, it is logical, there is sense behind it, right? I can trace things and test things
It
and
makes both your Virgo and your Pisces happy, right? It's
yes.
that balance in between.
Mhm.
It's ancient and proven, but then it's
Yes.
also
And has a
spiritual and
long
intuitive.
That's right. And has a long history of study. So I can track and read from forever ago, right? Like
Yeah.
my brain doesn't stop looking for uh the problems and the benefits. And time again with astrology, I just go, "Oh my god, like it makes so much sense, like it's amazing to me." So your grandma here in the middle, yes, she's super Aquarius. We've got a 21-degree sun. We have
I know I
yeah.
know we're not 100% on this time, right? This 5
Right.
a.m.
Right.
I'm not sure where I got that from. Like maybe I did get that from my Aunt Liz or something, so maybe it's closer than we think. But
Right.
I could honestly very much see her as a Capricorn rising.
Based on what you've told me, right? She did astrology. Did she make money doing astrology? It's like a resource for her. She has everyone written out.
Yes. It was a resource for her for sure. I think so. Yeah, she made money. She supported 8 kids. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like she had a degree in hospitality, and so she would like work in hotels and stuff,
Right.
like as a day job. But
Right.
then I think she'd party and do astrology,
Yeah.
like
Right.
moonlight.
She'd be like, this is amazing. She's got a Jupiter in Pisces. Oh my God, look at this. Her Jupiter is at 9 degrees 31. It is conjunct my Venus of 9 degrees.
No wonder you guys hit it off too, especially
Yeah.
in an ethereal way, right?
Yeah. In a spiritual way, right? Yeah, really
Look at this.
interesting.
They're both Scorpio moons. No wonder they couldn't like quit each other. You know.
Yeah. Or like couldn't process feelings, right? These are two people who I don't know how to tell you how I'm feeling, right? But then they would also be like, well, you should know how I feel.
And we've got a Sag Mars and an Aries Mars.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a trine there then. Aries, Mars, and in a trine to her. Yeah. So that is passion, but
So
that's actually
fiery ass Mars and
yes.
that deep, intense fucking Scorpio moon.
Here, look at this though. So your mom has a Saturn 14 Aries and he has the Mars at 15 degrees. So when she tried to put boundaries up, it made him angry.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't even know she'd be maybe quick to put up boundaries, maybe too many boundaries, right? I don't know how to mitigate the boundary sitch here because I could see this as if she was in an impassioned moment. I think things when I'm in an impassioned moment, right? Trauma respond. So trauma responding is something that she might have done like over, right? And then his Mars would have been like, but this is what I want to do, right? Mars is in domicile, Mars is strong.
Yeah.
So when she tried to restrict him, his actions, he would have maybe rose up a little bit,
Well, not to mention, like, um, the power struggles that would probably happen here, right?
Oh
Not
yeah.
just as a Saturn and a Mars coming together would kind of be its own power struggle. Put those
Right.
both in Aries,
Yes.
right? We got a dude with built-in independence here, you
Mm,
know. Raw Aries fiery energy, probably a lot of the fight or fuck instinct, right? And then
yes.
her Saturn is making her fiercely independent also,
Right.
right? I don't need you, but I want you,
Yes.
you know.
And wouldn't know how to leave that passion, that fire, right? There's
It
a
would
glue
stand out.
here, right? I
Yeah.
don't know how to leave fighting and fuck, right? And sleeping, right? Like, I don't know how to leave that. And
And
then,
here he is with a Pisces sun and a Pisces Saturn, right?
mhm,
So boundaries and restrictions.
yep.
I think drugs and alcohol too were a big part of his life. I'm sure
Yeah,
that
this is
they
like
both probably partied together,
yeah,
I would think.
hard intuition, right? Saturn in Pisces is hard intuition, or like I have to look much tougher, more bound. People can't know how sensitive I am, right? So like it's kind of
Yeah.
hardness, right?
Yeah.
And then Jupiter. So this is another glue we've got going on here. She's at 9-degree Jupiter in Pisces. He's got this Saturn 14 degrees of Pisces, right? This is now not only do we have like a fiery, passionate, I'm glued to your anger, or I'm glued to your feist. I'm glued to your
Right.
feist.
Right. I'm
We're
addicted to
also,
the pain.
I'm glued to your spiritual self. I'm glued to your beliefs. I'm glued to the way you buoy yourself. I can't imagine my life without you, right? It would feel like no one else could make him as happy as she made him, right?
But they both have that Pluto and Cancer.
Pluto and Cancer, yep. Both witnesses of the Great Depression, right?
And
Crisis in
she
home.
has a Chiron in Cancer like I do.
Oh my God. Right?
And I have an Aries Mars like he did.
Yes. Family, baby. Interesting, right?
It's so interesting.
Oh,
The
so rad.
generation, I mean, we look at the Libra Pluto era, right? And we're talking
Yeah.
about crisis in relationships and
Right.
building bridges between extremes,
Yes.
right? And then we have Scorpio, mine's in my first house. And then we have like Kaylee with Pluto Sag, right? Dark
Right.
humor. But really before this,
Right.
right? Um, way before, really. But
Yeah.
yeah, a Pluto Cancer era,
Yeah.
right? Would be like families
Yeah.
getting
That would be,
crisis in family.
that's right. That's right. A crisis around nurturing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
A crisis around business, like how to business stuff, right? Um, but yeah, when I
Yes.
think of Pluto and Cancer, those are people who maybe had to have their children go live with somebody else, or they had to work really hard to, and then their children be left alone, right? Like you've got, and then war, right? A crisis around how do I do that? They have so much war is going on during this time too. So,
Right.
yeah, a crisis at
And
home. Mm-hmm.
some of her kids didn't live with her
Yeah.
for a while, right? There were periods like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
they were often left alone because she worked
Right.
so many jobs to take care of 8 kids,
Right.
right? So that's super accurate.
And she's got that 29th degree, Mary's favorite, analytic.
Yeah, ultimate wisdom. But
Uh-huh.
then, a Chiron, early degree,
Right. Four.
right? So it's like mothering's like your biggest challenge, greatest fear, ultimate healing,
Right.
right? And I can really relate to that. But then, yeah, you put Pluto, the planet of destruction and rebirth and crisis and
Right. And
um,
I have a Pluto in my seventh. So Pluto in the seventh often can be an indicator of you'll be in relationships where at some point the other person tries to control you. So
oh
I
yeah,
had
and yeah,
that.
she's like, fuck that. Yeah.
Yeah, but early days you'll have that. So like I dated this guy when I was 14 to 15, and I was engaged at the age of 14. Right? I'm engaged. I have a ring. I wear this ring on my left hand. Our parents know because they read my diary, but it's a secret. We are secretly engaged at 14. And that guy was so controlling. He got mad if I talked to a fellow student in my class, right? Oh, he was violent. He was angry. He was yelly. He tried to control my every move, you know?
You
So
can have that ring back.
I bet she had experiences with somebody trying to control her, right? Which, yeah, does not work with Aquarius ultimately.
No.
The older you
You
get,
know,
the more you're like, oh, no, right?
she really was a revolutionary though, because like you think about some of the moves that she made, right? Being this fiercely independent single mom,
Right.
right? And not really being beholden to like the stereotypical family values of that time, right? And
Right.
really blazing her own path and following her passions then, which, you know, astrology and tarot
Right.
would not have been, you know, as
No.
welcomed either. I mean, maybe in the 70s, but like
Actually, in the 30s, in the 20s and the 30s, talking boards, like what are now known as Ouija boards. I don't know the date when they started doing that, but I know that early days, maybe earlier 1900s, they were called talking boards. And during a war, probably Civil War, I don't know enough about the dates of the history, but because I know the 40s was World War. But they had what were called talking, and everybody had them. They were like a common household item that everyone had. It wasn't until they became a child's game, Ouija, that they became because they marketed it as being mysterious,
yeah.
know.
The
Oh,
marketing of a lot of this
Exorcist,
stuff, right?
the movie The Exorcist is what did it. That's right.
Yeah.
So Ouija boards got a bad rep
Yeah.
after that
Pop
movie.
culture
That's right.
basically influenced, right? And astrology's been the same. It's not you're not looking at it logically like, oh, this has been around for a lot of time and lots of different cultures have studied this in different capacities. You're thinking mystical, woo-woo, new age,
Yeah, we've only been thinking
you
about this
know,
for the last 2 years. Yeah. But
but I have no doubt that the, you know, stereotypes of it probably came from some pop culture type influences where you
right,
kind of laugh at that or say fortune telling or
right.
right, they're dressed in very like over the top, you know, type of outfitting as a
Oh,
tarot reader, right?
think of this. I was just thinking, where's her Uranus to be so independent or counterculture? She's got a Uranus in Taurus. That is independent of culture,
uh
independent of tradition.
Next to a south node opposite her moon in Scorpio
Right.
and her MC. Well, we don't know if that's her MC really, but
Right. But yeah, that North Node and that Moon be together. So for her to follow the tarot, for her to follow the astrology, right? For her to follow the mystical occult things was literally her karma. So she was doing it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Ah, way to be brave.
And she didn't care, right? She really
Yeah.
was just, yeah, ahead of her time, right? We would look at women like that now and be like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, right? But she was not supported in that way of like, you
No.
go, you independent woman, right?
Nah.
If anything, it was harder for her to keep her kids
Mm-hmm.
because they valued, you know, the court would always value like a family scenario
Right.
over a single parent, right? And so that was really hard for her.
Oh,
Like,
she's
but
got
you
a
could see that Aries Saturn there.
yeah, right. The Aries, Saturn, and then Aquarius is also like, I don't care. I don't care to be a part of everyone else. And
Right.
then put that Uranus and Taurus, the place where tradition matters. And it's like, fuck you, tradition.
I
Or I'm
kind of love
ahead. Yeah. But a
I kind of
Venus in
love this too.
Aquarius. Vera has a Venus in Aquarius. And I think hers is like 8 degrees, right? Hers is like, or no,
She
the
has
Venus
a
in Cap.
Mars.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Venus in
Venus
Cap.
cap.
Yeah. And so Vera has a Venus in Cap, and Grandma had a Venus in Cap.
We often talk about a very similar rebellious spirit there.
Mm,
Um, I like that she's got this Sag Mars because she was known to pick up and leave in a second, right? All right, kids, grab your stuff. We're going. Like we're done here, moving on.
Wow.
Right. And that was a no issue for her.
Right. Interesting. Especially if maybe she felt like she had to take action, especially around like um enemies, right? So if she was in a place and maybe she felt like she had too many enemies, that would motivate her. Yeah.
Yeah,
To,
peace.
yep,
Yeah.
I'm going
Pack
to
a pillow,
Mars
kid.
out of
We're
here.
out.
But yeah, no, that's super interesting. And
No,
then yeah,
right.
your grandpa's Venus and Aquarius to that sun right
Yeah, I'm
there.
sure he was powerless in a way against uh complete, firework of a human being in that way. Right? Somebody so innovative and ahead of her time.
Right.
His Aquarius Venus would be
Dude.
drooling, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because here's the other thing. Saturn rules Aquarius, and her Saturn is in Aries. It makes her like an honorary Aquariarian, right? An Aries Aquarius, which is kind of what I am, right? So
Yeah.
kind of cool to see that fire there.
Oh, you know.
But yeah, I love looking for similarities, right? In family charts.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, if she is a Cap rising, I mean, either way, that Cap Venus is there,
Yeah.
but my mom's a Cap Sun,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I really feel like she has the same work ethic. I think she saw her mom grind,
Right.
right? And the Capricorn in my mom is like, yeah, if she can do it, I can do it,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Did your
like
mom
almost like outclimb each other.
Did your mom like did you get a feeling that your mom adored your grandma at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my grandma was put on a pedestal by most of her kids, right? Like was very yeah, just the matriarch, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
boss. But I do think so. My Aunt Liz and her were more like best friends,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where I think in my mom's case, she was everything,
Yeah.
right? Like her role model, her at who she adored, who she would listen to, right? Because my grandma was around a little bit when I was growing up, so I want to say I'm like 3-ish, right? And my
Right.
mom think hangs on every word my grandma says, right? Like
Right.
Mary needs this, okay, you know,
Ah,
you need to leave. I'm gonna watch my grandkid, okay, right? Like
we have your
she had a
mom's
lot of
chart.
respect. She had a lot of respect for
We
her
have your
mom.
mom's chart here too, right?
Yeah,
What is it
I
under?
think Melinda,
Thank you.
is it there?
No.
Okay, then I still have it in Astro. Let's
Oh,
um
that's okay. That's cool. I was just trying to think of like to look up their charts together. And the reason why I asked that adoration question is because my grandmother had a son in Pisces and my father had sons in Pisces, and I adored both of them. They both could do no wrong. And I kind of wish that they could have known it more. My father definitely did not believe that I could love him as much as I did.
right.
Right. Because he abdicated, right? He left us, right? um he was barely around me my whole life, but I always adored him. We had the best time when we were together.
Right.
But Pisces, when they feel like they have failed, they want to swim away, right? And so
Yeah,
having a Venus in Pisces, I don't think he ever really knew how unconditional my love was for him, right?
right.
Like, I don't think he knew how much I adored and loved him.
I
And my
think
grandma. Hmm.
the self-deprecating nature of a Pisces could also logic their way into believing that you're better without them.
Yes, that is literally what he thought, and he couldn't have been more wrong. But I think he
I
just couldn't believe that somebody could love him so much. you know?
Right. And swims away when they think it's
Right.
somebody they love, right?
Right. Yeah,
All
they
right, I'm
really
adding
don't want to let
her.
you down. Hmm.
All right, she's in there now.
She's in there
Um,
now. Sweet. Okay.
she has an 18-degree Saturn Aries,
All right.
and her North Node is there. It's
Is
funny.
it
So her mom
M-E
was her
or
role model.
is she
Yeah,
M-E?
M-E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Yeah, yeah, she was in here. I was spelling it wrong. I was spelling it the other way. M-A.
Oh, yes, yes. I know why you. Okay.
Right. Okay. Okay. Actually, and then I want a synastry because I wanted a synastry between your grandma and her. Synastry. All right. So I have your mom on the inside though. Mirror, mirror, banoom. Okay. Here they are. Oh, your mom has a Venus in Pisces.
Yeah.
No wonder why she can love your Taurus dad, right? Like, no wonder
No
she
wonder
loves
she's
her.
obsessed with you too.
Is she? I love
Yeah,
her.
you guys are completely obsessed with each other.
Oh my God, I did not know that, but I totally love her. We're friends finally on Facebook. And I
Um,
love her because she had a beautiful human being, right? Like forever, I love her womb for that. You know? Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mom.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. And they're close too. Like our Venuses are close.
And
Mine's
she's
9. And look, your mom.
and
Your
they're yeah, they're benefics or hanging out together. And
Yeah. So your grandma's Jupiter 9 degree is conjunct your mom's Venus of 3 degrees, and it's pretty close conjunction. So
yeah,
that's a definite you can't do wrong, right?
no,
Even if
yeah,
you do wrong, it's
no.
completely forgivable.
My dad would be so irritated, right? It was just like, why do you listen to her? She is speaking
Mm.
all this nonsense, aka
Mm.
astrology, right?
Right, right, right.
My dad has some sort of rebellious feature in him where he feels like he wanted to buck everything she said. He wanted to disprove so she would be like, there's a difficult transit,
Right.
right? Watch out for this. And he would be like, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to
Ah,
go, you know what
yeah.
I mean? So that was like their relationship. My dad was like, ugh. But my mom, yeah, she could do no wrong. Like
No.
she was obsessed with her mom. And I get it. I was obsessed with her too. She was awesome.
Right. Yeah, that is so
They
sweet.
both have,
Oh, and look, they're moon. So moon, and so we have a earth moon, water moon. So that's really nice. They will, they can, so that means that your mom can hold your grandma's water depths, right?
mhm, yes,
It's a wide conjunction, it's a
moods.
wide. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, my mom is so earthy. Do you see this? Uh,
Yeah.
Virgo moon, Cap sun, and but then she's got that Gemini rising,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And an Aquarius Mercury. She's not a stubborn, stuck kind of Earth,
Right.
right? She's
Right.
innovative, heavy
She's
on the
a
thinking.
Yeah, she's a forward thinker. Like Steve Jobs had a Mercury in Aquarius. Does she like high tech things like, oh my God, I want this technology that's new or innovative or is like ahead of its time?
Um, yes and no.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, I'm the same way. I'm an Aquarius and people are like, oh, do you like tech? And I'm like, no, I want nothing. I don't want it to not change. I want to not have to learn a new fucking program.
that's my mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like once she knows it and it's not
Right.
her versus the technology, I think she's a big fan. Right. But
Right.
like there's like friction where she's
Yes.
like, yeah.
Hell
But
yeah.
how
Yes.
close, look at this Aries. They're 4 degrees apart, that Aries Saturn.
Yes. Yep. Similar Aries Saturn. Then home too. So your mom is growing up with her mom. So moon represents mom, Pluto represents crisis. So she definitely grew up in a home with mom that was extreme, right? There's an extreme health, maybe too, extreme like health, because I think of like Virgo. But yeah. But then look at this, but it's conjunct your grandma's Neptune. So like your grandma would have no idea that she was even causing any kind of anything. Because because Neptune goes, oh, whatever. Right? Like
really was. So like
just rise.
my mom's the youngest at this point, right? So there's 7, not counting the twin, 6, right? Older siblings around. And so she's like, give the babies whatever they want. Right?
Yeah.
Like just take care of it, give them what they want.
Yeah.
Right. She was pretty hands off at this point because in her mind she had raised 6 babysitters, right?
Did it.
Like
Yeah.
this is I'm handing it like I gotta go work and take care of everybody. You must take care of that baby.
Right.
If she's crying, give her what she wants. Right.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like so my mom was raised a little spoiled in that sense. But and then, you know, her siblings is kind of like being raised by wolves, right? Because they're all kids.
Look at this. Yeah, your mom's IC is in the 3rd house of siblings. So home siblings.
Yeah. Yeah. She had a lot of FaceTime and a lot of trouble and a lot of like smoking weed and smoking cigarettes with her brothers and
Venus and Pisces.
My uncle Shooter, I think, permed her hair once, and it was
Shooter.
like an absolute disaster.
Don't you just love like old family names, right? Like,
yeah.
God, who did I have? I had uncles with weird names too. Uncle Red, because he had like a red beard. Right? Uncle Red and
Pirate Redbeard.
yeah. My mom knows the names of all of them. Like she'll tell me like names of them and we laugh because we're from a small town, Hanford, California, right? So you have like these small towny sort of names.
I can't look what I just saw though. My grandma's Black Moon Lilith. You see that?
Where is it?
It is 2 degrees Aquarius.
Aquarius. Oh yeah.
And then my mom's lot of fortune is 2 degrees Aquarius.
Yeah. So the sum of her.
I like that it feels like that's connected to our work in a way.
Yeah.
Because that's us as a 2 degree Aquarius sun moon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. And your grandma's is retrograde, so she felt like an outcast internally, so whatever. Right?
Maybe that's why she needed astrology so much, right?
Dude, astrology is gold for Aquarius. I swear to you. It is the thing where when you're like, this doesn't make any sense. There's no logic to be had. And then you can look at something astrologically and you're like, oh my God, it makes sense, you know?
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I know your grandma's Mars close here to your mom's palace. This is like grandma's actions dictate mom's strategy. I've got to strategize around her Marsing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I love that my mom's DC is Sagittarius because that's my son.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I always felt like an outcast in my family because my mom's Capricorn, dad's Taurus, sister's Virgo. Right. And then to find out that my mom is double Earth, right? She had that Virgo moon.
Yeah.
So that's always like a very practical, normal, in the lines kind of family. Right. And then here I am wanting to like do art or like photography and now astrology, and like I've always just been very much like a black sheep, but seeing this helps me kind of understand that my mom understood me.
Yes.
Right. I always felt that, and I think it's the Aquarius bits that she has, right? She's got that Mercury, the lot of fortune.
Yeah. So the sum of the parts, lot of fortune is the equation of your sun, moon, and rising, right? So lot of fortune is a point on your chart that is the culmination of you, right? How you're going to have children, right? It's children, it's wealth, health, and wealth, right? So,
and then her DC is Sag, so it's kind of nice because my family doesn't have a lot of fire. I mean, my sister's an Aries rising, and that definitely shows, but like this makes sense when me and my mom click. Yeah. Right. It's her Gemini rising and my Sag Sun that could just travel together and be happy little clams, right?
Yeah.
My earthy family always gets very stressed about like road trips, right? The practicality and the details and the right. Where me and my mom are just like, let's just go, like let's
Yeah.
just roll, you know.
Be
So when
fun.
we just do a trip together, it's
Mhm.
very smooth sailing because
Oh
neither
my
of us are
God.
stressed about those same things, you know. But
Yeah, your mom has a Jupiter in Libra and Vera has a Jupiter in Libra, right? Yes.
and Vera's rising.
Yeah.
So then my mom's Jupiter is right next to her rising.
And
That's
it's in the
sweet.
fifth house, so like getting each other. Kaylee has a fifth house, Jupiter Libra, and she and Vera are like two peas in a
And that's
pod.
very much Vera and my mom too.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that makes a lot of sense. Vera's a double Sag,
Hmm.
and both Kaylee and my mom have, Gemini rising, DC,
Yeah.
Sag.
Venus in Cap, Jupiter. Wow. Did your mom ever want to be a lawyer? Oh, her son's in the eighth, though.
She's obsessed with like law shows. I swear she could be
Oh,
a lawyer based on how much she's watched.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Kaylee.
Gemini, storytelling. Right.
Yep.
My mom has always been a movie queen, pop
Yeah.
culture queen. She's always known.
Yeah. Kaylee knows everything about
Yeah. And I
everything.
was raised by that, right? So I get obsessed with shows. I get obsessed with like binging
Yeah.
beginning to end. And I think it's because she showed me stories
Yeah.
when I was young. So it would be like wake up for school, watch ER, wake up for
Mhm.
school, watch Miller's Place, wake up for school, watch Charmed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd just
Yeah.
be like these emotional dramas. And I would be like 8, right? And I'd be like, don't make me go to school. I want to see what happens on the show. Sick days were the best because then I could watch them in a row,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Dude, my sick days were horrible. My mom worked all the time, all the time. So I
Yeah,
was
on the
always with,
bus, right? You said you were like on the bus.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She drove a school bus, and she also put herself through college. We moved to like Salinas, so in like my teenage years, and she painted with my grandpa. My grandpa, her dad, had a painting business, and small town, everybody, he's the painter, and so they had a family paint. So she would, and then she sang. So she was a school bus driver, and then a couple weeks a night she had to practice for her band because she was in the charades of her band, and then she painted on the weekends, right? So she's constantly working, and so I forgot where I was going. So when I was sick and I had to stay home, first of all, my mom was like, "If you're not dying, you need to go to school, right? Are you dying? If that is the case, then you can stay home," because she had to find someone to watch us. So my aunt Jackie, by marriage, she was my aunt by marriage. She was the one who watched me. Now, her husband, my uncle Kenny, was a pastor, right? And they were super religious. And when I went to go stay with her, I couldn't watch any cartoons. I couldn't watch anything with magic. Nothing. If it has magic in it, it's forbidden, right? So
Don't watch anything fun or cool.
yeah, nothing. I couldn't watch anything. I couldn't watch Strawberry freaking Shortcake. I mean, that's my jam, right?
It's too much magic, you're gonna be
Why?
corrupted.
So sick days were like, you can have one a year, whatever. You're all
Oh my
done.
god, I'm so thankful for my mom, right? My mom would be like, um,
Yeah,
are
me
you
too.
cramping? Do you want the
Yeah.
day off?
So
Let
there
me
were,
teach you. My mom was like, let me teach you how to forge my signature
yeah,
so that when it comes to signing yourself out or like,
just do it.
yeah,
Same thing.
like she was.
Yeah, I trusted Kaylee too. Same thing. And when Kaylee was home from sick, I was like, yeah, there would be days where I would drive her to school and she'd be like crying, like, I don't want to go. And I'd be like, then we're not going. Do we need to go on a drive? We're going to go on a drive and then
Right,
process, you know?
right.
Yeah.
And that's what my mom did too. Mental health day. Okay.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was, she just trusted me. It was never like I'm trying to work her over or anything, right? She just was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's fair. I was
Yeah.
like so grateful for it, you know. Because my
Yeah.
dad's like, yeah, my dad's kind of like, you have to be dying.
Right.
If you are sick, there's no enjoyment. Turn off the
Right.
TV, go to your room, stare at the ceiling. That's what
Right.
sick is. And I'm like, when you're sick, you don't need to be kicked while you're down,
Yeah.
let me do some sort of creature comfort. God,
Yes.
if
Yeah, I need to be
you're just trying to get out of
distracted.
school and I can't make it fun because then you'll just want to get out of school all day. Like,
Yeah.
to this day, he still accuses me of being so like calculated, right? I'm never what I say. It's probably to get something.
To get something. That is so we can look at your dad's chart, but I mean, we'll just keep going forever. Maybe we'll
I know, right? We should
But I love family
probably good.
charts.
Yeah,
And looking at knowing your family's chart is perfect for creating compassion or understanding why somebody did what they did. Like for example, my dad not being around when I saw his chart and I was like, oh, dude, you didn't know you were lovable. Like you
right,
didn't know that he had a Leo moon like Kaylee, right? Kaylee has a Leo moon.
right.
So it's interesting to see those. And then the other thing that you're doing is when you know it's in your children, it's like this interesting new way to see or interact with family members who have passed on. You're like, oh, they would have been like this too. How wonderful. I don't know. I love it. I love seeing the
This
similarities and
this is really perfect for me because my Aquarius is fourth house, right? And so
mm.
Pluto coming into my fourth house where my moon is, right? So talk about my mom
Oh yeah,
and my
digging deep in
grandma,
family. Yeah.
right? My ancestry, kind of like understanding my roots better, right?
Right.
And what better way to do that than to check out my grandparents that I didn't get to know very well because they both died
Oh,
pretty young,
no,
and
it's the
for me,
best.
this is yeah, it's funny, someone might consider morbid, right? Would be like looking up dead grandparents' life and
No.
information, right?
Mhm.
Pluto. But for, you know, the beauty of it, right? Pluto,
Yeah.
the generational, the lineage, the gifts passed down, right?
Right.
Being able to see what Vera got, what I had, I didn't realize that my biological grandpa had an Aries Mars and
Also, he had
you
a
know
Saturn in Pisces. Who else do we know who has a Saturn in Pisces who you are with, right? Like, think
Yeah,
about
right,
those
Jeremy,
things.
totally, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
even that, right, is there, right?
It's yeah, I can't get enough of it, right?
Yeah.
And I would suggest that to anybody, right? So it's like whatever house Pluto just hit for you, wherever your Aquarius is, like go deep, right?
Yeah.
Like go
Yeah. Go
harder
hard
in
on
that
it.
spot.
Look at
Yeah.
the lineage.
For
It's
you,
really,
it's community.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's in community, which I mean, I guess kind of, but it's on my son. And so what I've really noticed is, um, what if everyone knew this? Right. And
right.
normally I'm like, fuck yeah, open book here. Anyone can know anything. But there's definitely things where I'm like, oh, that would be hard.
Right.
Like,
Well, picking up her rock, right? And
mhm.
covering
Yeah.
with a giant flashlight. The
Yeah. Right.
sun.
It's like, oh, yeah, no, but shit's gonna get uncovered. So wherever Aquarius is, if it's hitting your, sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, you're going to end up saying things that maybe you have not said before, right? You'll find yourself being like, that thing that I has always bothered me, but I've never said out loud. You're going to find yourself saying out loud, right? You're going to find it
Right.
exposed. There's nowhere. Pluto doesn't give places to hide. Pluto
Right.
goes,
Secrets come out,
yes.
right? Like,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
And then when they're uncovered, though, sweet. Oh, you can hear my. It's like sweet, right? Like now that's a mess, and you can sort messes.
Right. You can, yeah.
You can then you can see it. So it's like I don't know. I wish I could preach the joys of it, but yeah.
But wherever it's out, you're gonna feel it, whether you enjoy it or not,
Yes.
honestly. So might as
Well,
well
and if it's in the
try.
fourth house too, like that it
It's
is.
uncomfortable, right? Because that's such a private place.
Yeah. How you feel
So
about things, right? And you in particular, and your
but I think I have a pretty good relationship with Pluto in my chart, right? It's in my first
yeah,
house, it's next to my Venus and my
right.
rising.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, you do.
So
It's
Pluto coming into my home, it's still uncovering things,
right.
right?
Mhm.
In my astrocartography, we're living on a Pluto line for me here in Portland,
That's right.
right? Pluto is transformative, right?
Right.
It's Phoenix, it's death and rebirth.
Right.
I like those things, right? Kind of
Yeah,
like
me
darker,
too.
occult, other side, otherworldly,
Yeah. I love those things too.
curiosities. Yeah,
Yeah. I celebrate messes, right?
right.
I love messes. Give
Which
me
is why
mess.
I think it's not
Mhm.
a power struggle,
Yeah.
right? Because you could think Pluto and the sun could be a power struggle,
I
right?
I
But you
definitely
like messes and you
right.
like conflict and you like the
Mhm.
or the Virgo, the organizing it after it's a mess,
Right. The
right?
sorting of the details.
So blowing things up does not feel as stressful for you because you're like, oh, but then we see everything and we can clean up the mess, right?
Yeah. And also it goes, yes, I have always thought that. You know, I have definitely noticed power struggles with like other people where
Right.
I think one way and they think another way, and I have to be down with not controlling it.
I
I
think we're going to collectively be in more power struggles,
right.
right? I think Pluto making a big switch from one to another
Mhm.
is going to rub
Yeah.
some people the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
with it being on your sun,
Mhm.
your outwardness, who you are,
Right.
it would make sense that could rub sideways somebody who's already kind of not adjusting well to there being a shift, you know?
Yeah, I have Pluto in exact opposition to my moon, so I have a constant connection. We're constantly talking with Pluto, right?
Which door are you answering?
Yeah, yeah. Now it's like it's on my sun now and on my emotions always now, right?
Right.
So it's like it's make me bolder. It gives me the superpower of being bold. That is what
Right.
Pluto does. That's why it gives you the superpower of being bold in your ego, right? And who you are, right? Is because it's always there. So it gives you that capacity to be able, yeah, what are we looking in the face? Right.
Which I wouldn't have described myself as, right? Because it's Tuesday for
Mhm.
me is I'm just used to it being there, right?
Right.
But
Mhm.
it's interesting to hear it explained that. Oh,
Yeah.
all
All
right, we should
right.
wrap this up. We've had a nice
I know.
long
Yeah.
um
Thanks for listening to Mary and I ramble. This is how astrologers talk. We're just like blah 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 blah.
that's at least how we talk. Always. We've always talked like this though, like best friends. We've always just been boom, 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 ping pong, you know.
Yes. And then we're always like, oh, this is what I'm struggling with. Right.
Yeah,
Love it.
definitely that.
Well, thank you for listening to us, y'all. And look at your family lineage.
Yeah.
Tell us in comments your family
Yeah.
stuff if you know that
What
you have.
placements do you
Yeah,
share with
yeah.
what family members, right? I
What
always think
placements
that's
do you
really interesting.
share?
Yeah.
We want to hear about it. I love that
Yeah.
beautiful stuff. It's beautiful.
It's really one of the most fascinating pieces, right?
So
How astrology kind of gets passed on.
yes, and we see it a
Fascinating.
lot. We see it a lot.
We do see
I
that
have
a
so many
lot.
stories, and I won't share them
I
all.
think as moms, we're also
Yep,
deeply fascinated with that part, right?
yep, yep.
Yeah. All
Yes.
right.
Mhm.
Love you.
All right. I love you too. Bye. Bye, y'all.